Yo, so there's this guy, the Dragon Man. I don't really know who he is, but he was like, let's do a back and forth on third wave feminism. And I said, okay. He was like, 2 responses a day or some shit. Like, there's too much for me. I can't do that many. So, I mean, I got other shit to do. So I was just like, I can give you 1 or 2 a week. Anyways, he had a short little video about Anita Sarkeesian and all that shit.
I'm a proud choice feminist where a woman can vote and have the autonomy to live a life she wants to live, whether it's being a man's wife and a good mother, or somebody who owns a business, or a CEO of a major business.
Cool.
But I'm against third wave feminism and what it's doing.
Okay, well you'll have to say what it's doing.
As Anita Sarkeesian describes, not all choices made by women help the feminist cause, because it harms other women.
All I gotta say about that is I'm not really a very big fan of Anita Sarkeesian, and you talked to me about doing this dialogue about third wave feminism. I don't know when Anita Sarkeesian became like the queen of third wave feminism, but honestly, I've seen like 4 of her videos or something. You haven't watched enough Anita Sarkeesian to know how bad she is. She is the devil. But when I watched it, I was like, she had a really good point about Mario. Peach is fucking useless in that game. And Peach was going to have her own game, and then they just, like, palette swapped her with somebody else, and she's worthless and a waste of time. And then I've had arguments about people like, Peach is supposed to be that way, in her own way, she's really great. Like, I don't fucking care. I just thought it was very interesting how pathetically weak Peach is and how awesome Mario is compared to her, and Peach doesn't do nothing. She's just shit. Even Luigi's better than her, and Luigi sucks. So when I saw her video about Mario, I was like, sweet, that's fine. But then I saw her thing about strategic butt covering, and I just thought it was silly. Alright, I mean, there's the butts.
I like big
butts. Butts. Lara's butt. The character's butt. Protagonist's butt. Lara's butt. Women's butt. Men's butts. The male character's butt. Men's butts. The protagonist's butt. His butt. Strategic butt covering.
So if we have this conversation about feminism, I'll just have to agree with you that Anita Sarkeesian represents third wave feminism. Although I find her to be puritanical, and as a gamer, her pedantic analysis of things irritates me. And I personally don't fully associate that with feminism. I just think that's just kind of the way that Anita is, and then there's a whole bunch of people who like what she does. Just like a bunch of douchebags on the other side, like Paul Elam and shit, they don't really represent men's rights activists. Now, there could be an alarming trend of men's rights activists who are virulently anti-women and misogynistic, but I'm not a very judgmental person, so I don't decide that they represent MRAs, and if men's rights activists want to come to me with an interesting point of view, that's fucking fantastic, I have no problem with that. But that also means that I expect other people to not constantly just spew talking points about Anita Sarkeesian at me. It's so boring.
She's declaring war on strong, independent women who don't agree with her or third-wave feminists.
I'll need some examples, because I don't know what you're talking about.
These feminists want women to be victims, people who are unable to be anything but victims under male domination.
How do you know that? Can you read their souls? They want women to be victims. No, I mean, I thought that they wanted women not to be victims. And that's half the reason that they piss everybody off so much, because they're like, we hate being victims so much that we're constantly going to remind you that we're victims. So we're going to say, you're victimizing us over this, over that, over this. But to me, that seems like the opposite of wanting to be a victim. Unless you think that it's kind of like a cult of victimhood and playing up being a victim. But by the same token, the kind of backlash and reaction against that is just as victim-y. When people are like, there's now the new normal is racism against white people. It's so hard. The new normal is people being mean to men. How's that any different? So, and like if I just uncharitably say that's all men's rights activists or anti-feminists, you're gonna complain. So we just have a complain-off. If you felt like you were under domination from anything, you would complain, I'm assuming. Why can you not put yourself in the place of women or feminists who feel victimized? Because I'm pretty sure if we did have a world where white people or males were as victimized as they often say they are, they wouldn't be quiet about it. Look at all these whiners complaining about male suicide and complaining about men getting put in prisons. Would you just sit back and be like, well, yeah, they're pretty whiny? No, you'd be like, okay, they've got a valid point. Feminists are saying, like, rape culture legitimately scares us. We don't like the fact that you feel a lot less safe as a woman. You're so concerned about being raped. we're concerned about all of the misogyny we see online. And yeah, they feel threatened by male dominance, because male dominance has not necessarily been very good for a lot of people throughout the history of the fucking world. So, I mean, that's not like the most stupid thing to be concerned about. Just in my personal opinion, and this is as a male that himself does not want to be discriminated against in any way.
They have done this by declaring war on men. Third-wave feminists paint men as demons who will rape, abuse, and street harass you at a moment's notice. All men are seen as sociopathic monsters who are psychotic.
I hate to pull citation, please, but I will need some citations on that. And can you tell me whether that represents mainstream feminist thought, or whether that's radical feminists? Because then I can just come back at you with all of the misogynistic and fucked up things that men's rights activists have said. And I kind of get the feeling that you would probably be able to put that into context and create reasons for that. But when it comes to feminists, no. There's no charitability, there's no considering whether these people represent feminism. You just take it out of hand, you just assume they do.
But what's really scary about third-wave feminism is it's also declared war on capitalism. With Gamergate, they tried to destroy a $110 billion a year industry.
Again, this is just you being incredibly cynical about this, because I don't think they were trying to destroy gaming. I think they were trying to change gaming. If gaming got destroyed through being changed, I mean, that would obviously be a problem because I'm a gamer and I like games. But that wasn't the reason that they were doing it. The reason they were doing it is because they don't like the content in some of the games. Personally, I'm neither here nor there on the whole games thing, because I feel like a lot of it's just over-analysis. And I don't know how that really contributes to the equality of women in terms of the important things, like having jobs and being educated and being paid the same amount and having autonomy over their bodies and feeling like citizens that are fully valued, and that they can make their own choices without being shamed. But when you say they were just trying to destroy games, to me that just seems like bitterness and angriness against feminism, basically. And you're entitled to that. I don't have to see it as some kind of fact, because now you're just mind reading. They just want to destroy games because, I don't know, they're evil.
An industry that will be the next bastion of the middle class. As Anita said, white, male, capitalistic patriarchy.
What about white male capitalistic patriarchy?
As a choice feminist, I'm against all these wars. Sure, we can work things out and come together and find solutions to a lot of our current small iniquities between men and women. But we don't have to dismantle everything. We don't have to create any new systematic changes. In subsequent videos, I will go into these in much greater detail. Cheers, Tim.
Because I do not believe that video games, movies, TV, etc. really leads to specific behavior. I mean, and that's just my opinion. I think that the biggest thing that needs to be changed is rape culture. And I think rape culture is not a matter of simply mainstream culture, but it's a matter of male culture. It's a matter of us basically saying an alpha male is someone who fucks heaps of women, and a woman who has sex with lots of men is a slut. I think it's a ridiculous double standard. I don't even know why it exists. And the other guy's a player. And I do think there is a kind of toxic misogyny, which is exemplified in things like alpha and beta male. Because alpha male is basically just somebody who's dominant and doesn't actually have respect for other human beings. And I don't think that's alpha behavior. I think a true alpha would be somebody who tries to help the people around them and is caring and is a good person and gives back to the society. So I think the problem is not like all the video games and all, because those are kind of just a reflection of a different trend which is occurring. And that's kind of like the culture that males share amongst themselves. And I don't buy into it. I don't see what's like manly or cool or alpha about just being a total douchebag motherfucker. So, I mean, that's what, to me, would really change and really matter. People have told me that I hate myself because I don't buy into this fucking bullshit culture of basically having all of these totems that I show other people and say, look at my YouTube channel, it's got a certain number of subscribers, so I'm fucking cool. Look, I play guitar, like, I'm the man, I can get laid, I go out and get fucking money, and, oh, I'm not a loser, I don't live in my parents' basement, I live in my own house, and, you know, it's all very materialistic and very shallow. I have absolutely no fucking interest in that, and I think that shit is rampant. All you have to do is look around the internet. And so, I mean, that is the thing that really stands out to me. So I wouldn't be focusing on all these video games. I would be focusing on the way that males actually value things. And there is a rape culture. I think rape culture is the thing, but I don't normally get into talking about patriarchy because I think it's a complicated subject. It's hard to talk about in a way that doesn't just devolve into people just talking past each other. And it's a complicated subject as well, so I want to read more about patriarchy. But I think I'm not going to be a very good representative for speaking for, like, Anita Sarkeesian, for example, because, I mean, she's not in my wheelhouse particularly. But I'd be very interested to see more of the details that you bring up about the things you talk about, and I appreciate the fact that you want to start this dialogue. Hopefully we can get into more detail in the future, because right now it's a little bit vague. But thanks for your message. As you can see, I went way over long, because I always do that. So once or twice a day, or every second day, this is not going to happen, but once a week, once every 2 weeks. Okay, something like that. Cool. Cheers, bro.